Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Mid Thought Podcast with your host, the Scoot Root, also known as Ethan, and
Baby Ray Earth. You can call me Ray. It's easy.
in the first episode, we will be discussing basically the biggest anime of this season and one of the biggest manga right now, Oshi no Ko. We'll just be talking about the first volume of the manga and I guess the movie length first episode.
So welcome to book club, everyone. I hope you have your reading glasses on.
So,
So
tell me about some first impressions, I guess.
I feel like we should probably bring up, just a little excerpt on the back, letting people know kind of what the story itself wants us to know, and then we can dive into what those meanings are.
All right, go ahead.
So Goro is an OBGYN with a life far removed from the glitz and glamour of the entertainment industry, the world of his favorite idol and rising star, Ai Hoshino. But when the two are unexpectedly brought together, their fates become intertwined in ways that defy all reason. For the good doctor, it's time to stand and deliver. Of course, that stand with the English stand kind of brought out. It's kind of a weird writing now that I read it. Um, but yes, this is a story about a pop star, which is something I did not think I would enjoy, to be honest. Uh, but they made her so cute and likable, and I love her to death, quite literally.
Wow, it's a bit uncalled for, but yeah. So this is basically a story about a gynecologist that gets reincarnated as this pop star's one of this pop star's children.
A nice little set of twins. He was helping her deliver, obviously, as an OBGYN. That's kind of what they do. But the story does take a turn for the worst and gets a little bit dark pretty soon. It's not just one time, but twice where that's kind of happened in the first volume, and they portray it so beautifully both times. Um, because death is such a hard thing to bring up sometimes, but when you have to see it, it's kind of cool the way they do it in this series.
Yeah, you better do it right, and I guess we'll get to that later on. We don't want to talk about talk about the big plot twist. Not really a twist, but the big event of the first volume. I guess later on.
Yeah, we can throw the spoiler warnings up when we get closer to it, I guess.
I don't know.
Um,
Someone decided to spoil it already in their "lover to death" statement earlier.
hey, some people just like to watch them all the way, you know?
Um,
Well, first impressions before we bought this book, what did you think?
I really liked the art. I think just the cover, even though I guess, it's not really bland, but there's nothing really happening. It's just an idle pose. She's just posing, but it's just such a beautifully drawn piece of art, and the fact that it was done by the Kaguya-sama Love is War author
Now
was
remember, that's
already.
just the story. The art is done by the person who created Scum's Wish, which you can kind of see a lot of the art deprived from.
Oh yes, but I mean like the fact that the Kaguya-sama Love is War author had a hand in it
Hmm.
was interesting.
Well, going into buying this, I did know the concept was rebirth as a pop idol's kids. Um, and, me hating children thought this would be a drag. But thankfully, the kids are just so likable in this. I absolutely adore that they're just grown adults in a baby's body, so I don't have to listen to annoying baby thoughts. Um, which is why I was looking forward to a nice little slice of life. But no, this is a drama, and it's a drama for a reason. Um, I just almost wish there was a spin-off story where it just kept everyone being happy, you know?
And I mean, you only have to. The kids only exist as kids for the first
For
episode.
exactly. Which I didn't expect. I thought we were gonna watch them grow, but nope, no, they're almost
Uh,
getting into those adult years with high school coming up soon in the second volume.
I mean, the same thing was for me because I never read it before watching the first episode, so I thought the whole anime was going to be focused on her just
Uh,
raising the kids and having to juggle idol life with kids.
Which, if they did it like this with the reincarnation, I think would make a wonderfully fun story. Uh, but this one is still even better, I think.
Looks like we'll never get to find out.
Well, with the way the American release dates are going, it will take a while. So, for those who are wondering, this volume was released January 17th, 2023. The second volume came out very recently, May 23rd, and we're expecting the third around August 22nd. So,
Jeez.
if you're counting that, that's quite a few months between drops. So, of course, you can find this digitally on multiple sources to read, but if you're one of those people like myself who desire to read the physical, we're gonna have to suffer and wait because this does have at least 11 volumes in Japanese. Um, but of course, two so far in America. Woo! We're gonna get there one day.
And I think the second volume leaves off where the fourth or third episode ends. So if you've been watching the anime, I it's gonna take a while to catch up to where the anime even ends. Ugh.
And for those who like to say, I know it because I read it in the manga, we don't get to say that if we're stuck to our book ways. So I am going to be spoiled by the anime, but there was a slight difference in the first episode to first volume, and that is in the starts of the chapters. At the beginning of each chapter, sometimes there would be an interview with someone in the future. You can distinguish this by a black background and older appearances of characters that you're getting to meet at the time. Now, they kind of allude to where they happen to be after some events. And of course, I thought that was a really cute little nod to what was going to happen towards the end. So the author was trying to prepare you for what's to come. But my dumbness was just like, what's the point? Why are we talking to these people? We have our kids right here. Who cares about the future?
Yeah, otherwise I guess the anime adaptation was pretty spot on in terms of adapting it like word not word for word, but like scene for scene. Because
Oh,
I
yes.
skimmed through it real quick before recording
Anime
this.
only.
I skimmed through it, so I guess I'm not anime only. To see what the big, if there were any major differences, and pretty much everything was the same, other than a lack of interviews in the
Movie
anime episode.
episode.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, when I heard this was getting adapted for the anime and I had just finished reading this, I was like, how are you gonna break that up? And then when someone told me it was an hour and some time of run, I was like, oh, they're doing everything right. That
yeah.
first volume is a prequel to what is to come, and I love that they did not break it up. I love they put the effort into making it just one big thing. And I feel like that impact really did ripple through the community of just, hey, you notice how this thing is different and amazing?
I'm pretty sure the
And
last one of the last pages of the manga just says, and that's the end of the epilogue. or
Yeah,
something. Or not epilogue, the prologue.
yeah, and so the prologue ends, a new curtain rises. Ah, I want more volumes so bad. I
Okay, so let's. I guess we'll start a story synopsis.
feel like we kind of covered a lot of it. But I
Well,
guess we can get more into details.
a 10-minute podcast is kind of lame.
Well, we still haven't showed my favorite part.
Okay, we'll get to it. So we talked about the doctor, the doctor who becomes one of
One of
I's
the twins.
kids. Um, Something we haven't talked about him is how he becomes reincarnated. A random stalker fan of I's who, by some mysterious way, obtains information that she is pregnant, um, sees the doctor leave the hospital at night, stabs him in the back, and basically pushes him off a cliff to kill him. It's like,
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah, everything was going really well to that point, and then just dark alleyway walking home. Everything about the tone has become very dark in this moment. And he is on high alert when this man just says I's real name. Knowing that they used fake aliases, no one in the town should know who she is, and the fact that that happens piques him and has him go on the defense for her. Now, to be honest, this guy is scrawny. He is a weak doctor man, and I don't think he should have been doing this alone. He should have probably gone back to get cops or someone else in the area to help out with that situation. But nonetheless,
I mean, I guess they
he did
they went
his
out.
best,
He did his
and she
best,
wasn't hurt.
and they were in the boonies.
Yeah,
They even make an effort to say like this town has a population of like nothing. It's like the smallest town of all time,
yeah.
just to make sure that like no one catches wind that this pop idol went out here to get herself checked out. And something I forgot to mention that takes place even earlier in the manga, that's I would say even darker than the doctor dying, is one of his patients dying, and the
I
whole
feel we can get to Ruby's section when we meet Ruby. We can flash back to that.
okay.
Well,
Uh,
anyway, of course, after reincarnation, like we said, he becomes one of the babies, and also another twin of the sort is Ruby. So Hayes Aqua, she's Ruby, and together they make the star-studding twins, happily living in the lap of luxury, or at least one of their definitions for it, because they get to be so close to the idol that they were drawn near to during their previous life. Now, for someone to be reincarnated, this is a growing trend in manga. It is blown out of the water with how many people just die and end up somewhere else. But this is one of the first times I think we've seen someone die so fast to be put right back in.
they don't
Uh,
go to another world. They go
exactly.
right back to the same world.
When they know a time that they're already in with information that they already had been taught and learned, which I'm like, wow, that was quick. He got sped through the process.
I mean,
Um, but
is
for
it
the other
technically like a
member,
superpower type thing? Because the doctor still has all his doctor knowledge.
I mean, that's the other thing. He does want to try to figure that out, which I think is really cool that he's just like, there has to be a way for me to deduce what has happened. And I'm like, oh, such a doctor, such a man of science. But me, on the other hand, I identify more with Ruby just being super happy to be alive with the woman she idolized. Now, here's the time where we can start flashing back to who she really is. So Ethan, if you
Yeah.
want to talk about her, because it's super sad, and I will cry if I talk about it.
So Ruby was. Did they ever outright state what disease Ruby had?
I feel it's just assumed terminal. That's as much as we can do. I'm pretty sure it may have mentioned something along the lines where you could figure it out, but I myself am dumb and I don't know. But I can
Um,
look it up while you talk about it.
oh, they apparently did mention it. She had anaplastic astrocytoma.
You see, those are too many words for me to understand.
I just assumed it was a form of cancer because she was bald and wore a beanie.
Yeah,
Okay, it is.
yeah.
It's a brain tumor. She had like which basically made her bedridden. Um, and she spent almost all her time in the hospital watching I. And when she finally passed away, the doctor like almost took it upon himself to be a fan of I in her place. And what we find out later is that Ruby is Serena.
Which is the poor patient that did die very young, and for him to lose such a young patient probably was very draining. Uh, I'm sure if you have ever had life in your hands to slip away and pass, it is something you can't forget easily for the first few times. Sad.
um,
Um, but she comes back, you know, she gets to live the life that she dreamed of. And there's a very beautiful moment when she gets to start dancing with her mother, that just shows like how much she has in this life compared to the last. Not that she wasn't loved, not that she wasn't cared for, but physically how much she can grow and how much she can take on, which was literally everything she wanted. And I'm like, yes, do it, get it. And I know she does. Like those interviews make it quite clear that she's going to make it. Um, as for her brother, I feel there's some more things in his life that are a little bit more darker and more complex than what his sister has to go through. Uh,
so I I guess my only question about her and something I always thought of when watching that episode is that like the time in between reincarnations.
I'm telling you, the dude got sped through customs, and she had to, you know, take a little bit of a detour, get a little bit
All
pre-approval
right,
from some
all
other stuff.
right.
I know, I wish it was instantaneous, but unfortunately, has to be pushed off a little bit. You know, not every pop idol is having kids out here.
I
Hopefully,
know, but she had to wait like
let's
a
see.
couple years before reincarnated because she died. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't think they ever. I really don't think they ever explicitly stated how far back she died before I showed up in the hospital.
I think it would have been 2 years because they were the same age when she started watching her, and I was an idol of 14 at that time. Um,
Okay, that makes sense.
yeah,
But like the
because I know they
doctor,
did talk about ages a lot doing that, and they made jokes. They're like, "When you turn of age, I can marry you." Blah blah. It's just kind of weird statements, but you know, Japanese things. I don't know.
but like I the doctor died like as I was going into labor.
Yeah, so
Like
if
he
there
was
was a
getting a
soul in
phone
that
call
baby
from her.
before, got kicked out.
Yeah. Um so what happens next?
We get to raise kids. There's several chapters dedicated to these kids growing up, of course, learning about their secrets to each other, because you don't come out the womb saying, hey, yo, you reincarnated too? No, he just happens to catch Ruby playing on the phone. Um, and I think that is the cutest way to just be like, oh, she knows. Okay, she's like me. I get it. While her, on the other
Not
hand,
playing on the
freaks out.
phone. She is very angry on the phone.
Just like me. I'm just kidding. I have
She was she's like, why are people bullying my mom? She's going
Either way,
ham at responding to all the people that said mean comments.
and that's when I was like, oh, thank goodness, they're both people with real thought and dialogue that I can at least read. Uh, Either way, the next few chapters just develop this relationship where I is overall a very decent mother. She truly does care for these kids in a way that I didn't think idols could, and that could just be because I thought this would be a very sensationalized version. But it's a true found family with her manager and his wife also looking out for those kids and just making sure the secret stays a secret, but giving them a life worth living and enjoying and just in general having fun. Um, and that lasts for like 4 years. But it's not 4 years of time drawn out, it's 4 years with instances sprinkled in until we finally get towards, I guess, spoiler alert. The biggest spoiler alert.
Wait, before your spoiler alert, though,
Yeah.
something you were keen on showing everyone was your favorite scene.
Oh,
Is
I was just
when.
gonna do some comparison shots and just be like, this from the manga was perfect and they did it perfect. Here's the video. I wanna just go goo goo gaga all the time now.
Well,
But we could do it now because I love this scene. It is adorable.
well, okay. Well, during one of her Eyes concerts, the babies, I guess before any of that, the babies since they have the knowledge to speak at like 2 years old, the knowledge to speak fluently at 2 years old, um they kind of manipulate the what
It's the producer's wife.
yeah, the
That's
producer's wife
who she is.
the producers they manipulate her into taking them to one of the concerts.
Because, they can just ad lib on the spot that they're little deities and they're upset with her. And so now she has to do it if she wants a good husband, which is, oof, shade toward the producer, but like, he falls off the face of the planet anyway. Who cares? But she, on the
Wow.
other hand, she has
Wow.
such mom vibes. I love her. I didn't know I would love her until episode 2 because I hadn't read volume 2 yet because it
Any
wasn't possible. But anyway, she's great.
okay.
I'll learn her name one day.
Uh Miyako.
Miyako. That's going to be so much harder than Ruby and Aqua, but I'll try.
So thank you to Purple Jello for recording this section.
見たでしょママが落ち込んでるところ。でも私はママが心配できてるの。
I guess while this is happening too, this is also animated so beautifully.
I could see what's happening.
私プロだし、全部出さいつも一番喜んでもらえる。
There they go.
Babies. Ah, I hate kids, but that's cute as crap, man.
I guess that's the one that's like the big major pull is it's not a big major pull, but something I just wanted to mention is how beautiful all the eyes are drawn. Am I right? Like
It
the
is true. It's a big signifier in this storyline of how their eyes are interacting with the story and how they're shining, if you will. And the fact that they took the effort to truly bring that to life with the animation style is chef's kiss. It's such a small detail, and a lot of times eyes are just generic and they're passed over and they're like, ah, they can see. That's their function. Here, on the other hand, we can see when a shift happens in these characters with those. Um, for when her eyes light up, it's the first time someone tells her that, hey, lying is okay. You can lie until you actually love. And that's when the first sense of her as an idol gets born and she's just drawn into that fantasy where she can finally have something worth calling family. Um, and so you can see this trait still within her kids, especially in Aqua as he's going, but more into a darker world. Because not only do they shine, they get dark, and that's when it gets spooky. And I'm like, ooh, tension is rising, but also there's Ruby. She's cute and adorable. Let's look at her. She's nice. I'm not worried about her future. Aqua, on the other hand, may commit murder. So, ugh.
May commit murder.
I mean, probably will, but I don't know. I only got 2 volumes. And since I'm not gonna cheat by going onto the internet, I may cheat. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
I've cheated before.
So
Anyway, that
after,
scene with the babies just made me extremely happy because that was the one shot from the manga that I was like, oh my god, if this gets animated, I'm gonna love it. And then I saw it and I was like, oh my god, I love it. But anyway, I smile after all of said and done. I'm like, yay, she's happy.
and then after that, they
And the 4 years
grow up.
of growth,
It was 4 years.
I think.
Okay.
Because it was normal for 4-year-olds to walk around and have some self-sufficiency.
I
You see a
believe
3-year-old do that?
I believe it's we move on to the acting.
That is true. Ai's career does grow quite exponentially as her idleness after a short, brief break, to have kids, comes back with a passion and a storm, and she really does grow in the hearts of many, which is, as we say, how idols get business. At which point she tries acting, which is cool, you know. Gotta make money somehow, right? Has to raise a family.
And
Uh,
while it's cool for I, it's really more important to Aqua's growth because that's when we meet the director guy who lives with his mom.
and that mom is great. Once again, this story is wonderful for mothers. There's great examples every other page. So if
The
you want to be a mom, take some lessons from this story, I guess.
and also what is her name? Kana? Yes, Kana,
Ah, the little redhead.
the redhead who yes, she
Does come
can
back in the
cry on
future.
command.
Almost like me, but I take a longer time.
And I guess basically all that happens here is we set up links to the future, and
Yes, if once again you didn't understand, the idol industry is an industry of connections, just like every industry now. If you have a cousin, talk to them and then talk to everyone else.
and then yeah, it's basically like Aqua's a great actor, um, without even trying, basically, because he was cast as a creepy character, and he can basically just act creepy on command, creepy without trying. I mean, because he's just a creepy person.
I-
After that, they grow up. No, that's when the growing up stops. What happens after that?
I wants to show the kids her dad, their dad, I guess.
Oh, yes. Even though she has been warned multiple times not to do that.
But she's a good liar, so she lies.
Yes. And I guess that's when it brings up a little bit of Ai's backstory, how she was raised in a,
Group home.
yeah, group home orphanage type place, and usually something like that I would get red flags from. I would be like, so they're doing a lot of exposition type stuff for I, and nothing's
Hmm.
really happened with her in the past 20 minutes of this like movie episode. So something's gonna happen with her, but I don't know what it was about this movie, but like I didn't get any red flags. I don't know if it's just me, but I didn't get any red flags.
You were caught up in the delusion that this was gonna be fun.
That's true. I didn't expect I fully expected the whole entire story to be about her. Like when I looked up the poster on my anime list and I was like, why is she in the background? Cuz I think the
I think the poster is the kids with their side characters, and then eyes like all the way top right, kind of faded, and it's just like, I don't know, because I had read this before he watched this, and I was just waiting. I was like, ooh. But even when I'm waiting, I know what's gonna happen. However, I still cried more. I literally cried the rest of the episode afterwards, and I was just like, I know this was gonna happen. Why am I so sad?
okay, so I'm not signed into my anime list, but yeah, so it's got Ruby, Aqua, Kana, someone who hasn't appeared yet.
Someone you haven't watched, I'm sure. Are you talking about the blue one?
I'm
Because
talking
you
about
know we're behind on the episodes.
the blue one and the yellow one with like the devil horns, and then eyes like in the background. And I when I first saw that before watching the long episode, I was like, what? Why? Why is she not forefront? And I just assumed, oh, and I'm like, why are the kids old? I'm like, okay, it must just be weird. And then I looked at some of the other pictures, and I was like, okay, I is forefront here. It's just her on the stage. It's her and her kids. I don't know why my anime list is using like a final episode picture, but you know, it must be fine, okay? Must be fine.
Must be fine. It's not fine. Fine. Here.
But no, they literally had to stab me in the heart and stab her in the heart because the same stalker guy from earlier decides to show up at her house and
This is the spoiler alert. Woo!
well, I was gonna put spoiler alert in the
It's
title
all
of the
good.
video.
It's okay.
He shows up somehow obtaining their address, which has also been kept a secret. Must be some ultra hacker, and stabs I and kills her right in front of her kids.
You saying it just makes it sound so unemotional. This is the final moment she has with these children, and in these times when she's about to pass, her one struggle of knowing if she can truly say honestly that she loves her kids, she manages to do it.
Yes,
And
because that's one of
oh,
the major things of this whole episode is that she's been like, I'm the best liar, and I being an idol is all about lying because you can't have a boyfriend and you gotta hide away all the truth in order to make everyone else happy. Um, which is definitely like 100% true. Like I'd hate to bring this up because it doesn't end in a death, but like events I believe Rushia in Hololive had was forced to graduate due to bullying, all because of people found out she had a boyfriend. Like that's that's messed up. But
is
anyway,
a harsh reality of that of fans.
yeah. but in her final moments, I guess she was able to say "I love you" to her kids, and something something lightly mentioned is that she was never good with names, but she was able to remember the stalker's name because he showed up to many like the handshake events that they had, and what else happened? I think
They
I
bring
could.
up the Star Sand, but I don't truly care to cover a murderer's tale sometimes. Like, he was there just to progress story, because afterwards he kills himself. And
Whoa.
he's not the main villain, is the problem.
That's
And
true.
that's what Aqua connects in his head, which is where the story progresses for him.
Yes,
Um,
shortly after the funeral, he's like, "This guy is stupid. This guy's not good enough to be a hacker. How did he get all this information?" And he's like, "The only person that could have had all this information would be our dad." And like the one of the last scenes before the episode ends is like, "I'm gonna freaking kill our dad."
he basically surmises that the only connections I has had is in show business, and the only way to find those people in show business is to run DNA tests by conspicuously acting yourself into it. Which is where we go back to Mr. Director, and we ask for an apprenticeship, basically until forever. Um, and hopefully he manages to find him, because if you are caught up in the Japanese one, you know what he looks like.
Well, I mean, eventually, this manga can't go on forever.
No, it cannot. That's how
Like,
everything is.
like I would assume it would end with Ruby being in a. You know what? I'm not gonna make speculations. I would assume it would end with Ruby being in a like a super popular idol group, and I'm not sure what Aqua's thing would be.
Aqua's gonna be a hermit.
Hermit.
I'm just kidding. We all know he was told, dying wish by his mother, to be an actor. And if he doesn't complete that, like, who's gonna? Come on now.
It's true. Um,
Well, overall, I feel like we can just talk about ratings and such if you want. Like, out of 10 stars, what do you give it, kid?
I mean, let's see. I'm still on my anime list right now, so I can pull that up again. I believe. Okay, it's sadly it's no longer destroying Full Metal Alchemist in the rankings,
I
which was
mean, there's
really
gonna be
funny.
people that don't like it.
I know, but it was still really funny when it happened. It's number 12 now, which if it stays around there, dang. And it's ranked 9.2 by 160 around 163,000 people.
You know what? That's about like what I give it. So I do like to do little small reviews on my Instagram prior to these, if I can get them in on time. And this one got like a 4.8, so 4.8 out of 5 stars. So
A
pretty
4.8 out
darn
of
close.
10.
No,
Dang.
for out of 5. I like 5 stars because drawing 10 stars just takes too much time, and I think it looks kind of over incumbent. But I do like to draw stars. So
Um
kind of obsessed with the drama serializations these days, so I've been buying a lot of them. I gotta stop that. Gotta find something different.
I think Wait, it had another anime? Oh no, that's the manga. Sorry. And that's the yeah, that's the music video. Okay. That's something to talk about. What an amazing opening.
I think we'll save openings for another day.
Well, we can
Because
have
this
like a
is
review opening,
a
but like
club.
that the they don't show the actual opening in the movie, but they do play the opening song for the end credits. What what a freaking good song. I'm not like a music analyst or anything, but it's it's definitely my favorite. I still don't know how to pronounce Yao Sobi.
Mm,
How do you say
that's a
it?
pronunciation. I'm not gonna say it because this is book
Oh,
club. But it's a banger. I listen to it every time. And
it's
if
one
I
of
missed it while we're watching it, I'll make us go back and watch it again
it's
because I had to
definitely
go to
one
the
of
back.
those ones you don't skip. And our friend who was watching it with us, who was watching the show with us, I don't know how he managed to pick out the singer of the ending. I think it's
Do 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 do
I mean, I
do
know who does
do
it, but like
do do do.
yeah, Queen Bee, cuz he's like, I know only one group can hit those high notes. It's the guys
Yeah, and what
from
else did
it's the
they
guys who
do?
do the Dororo opening.
Dororo? Oh, okay. I don't remember. The ending's not as great
It's
because I love the opening.
okay, it may not be as good, but
It's good. I just like the opening.
yeah. Um is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, this is book club. I took my book. Yes. I wholeheartedly recommend reading it. Grab it if you can, because some of these aren't on shelves anymore because, people didn't order enough at the Barnes& and Noble we're
Wait,
nearby.
really? Is it not on shelves anymore?
Well, mostly because it's bought out. The second volume is there, but it's not as big of a number as it probably could be. So I am gonna be a little worried about the scalper market for this volume, but not a lot, because I'm 100% sure they'll pick up the pace soon. But
I'm
I still have to wait several months to get the third volume.
okay, even though it'll probably be years in the future, I'm positive that they'll probably do a box set of this too.
That
Like
is a growing thing that I would like to stop.
it's a what?
Do you know how much I want the Toilet Bound Honda-kun box set, but I can't have it because I already own all the first 10 books?
What's even do they have like a poster or something?
I don't know, it just looks like a cool box.
Like one
It's a
of our
toilet
friends who will
stall.
probably join us for one of these is gonna get rid of all of his Chainsaw Man volumes just so he can get the box set for Chainsaw Man because the poster in it.
Anyway, enough about other things. We've finished our discussions. It is time to go.
Okay.
And tell more lies elsewhere.
Yes. Stick around for episode 2.
Until then, I love you!
Bye.